Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Youth Justice Action webinar series hosted by the Office of Youth and Community Restoration, OYCR. Today's webinar will highlight insights from our OYCR Youth Advisory Board. I'm Susie Rivera. I'm the Youth Voice Champion for our OYCR Youth Advisory Board, and I have the most amazing role in the world. So I'm just going to have to say that. We do have a few announcements before we get started today. Today's webinar will be recorded and posted on the OYCR webinars link. We welcome you to share your questions in the chat throughout today's presentation, and we'll have a chance to try to get to as many as we can. And if we don't get to all of them, we will get back to you as soon as we can. There will be designated time for questions to be answered at the end of the webinar. We'll respond as we go. Today's session is pending approval for 1 hour of STC credit and 1 hour of BBS learning credit. And to receive that credit for attending, you must stay for the entire duration of the webinar. But you're going to want to do that because we have the most incredible people in the world in this webinar. Educators are encouraged to attend in support of professional learning expectations outlined in the California Standards for the Teaching Profession, the CSTP, Standard 6, and developing as a professional educator. Consult your local district leadership to confirm whether participation is approved for professional learning credit. This webinar is not eligible for MCLE credit. And now, for the amazing part of our webinar today, I'd like to introduce you to our YAB speakers for today. I believe it's perfect today as we're continuing to celebrate Black History Month, and today is Lunar New Year. So it's both an honoring of our ancestors and what we've done and our incredible leaders, as well as a new beginning for our future. And today celebrates more than achievement. It really honors resilience turned into leadership, pain transformed into purpose, and lived experience elevated into policy influence. Our Youth Advisory Board do not simply participate in advisory spaces, but they actively shape them. They ensure that decisions about young people who are impacted by systems are informed by the wisdom and the brilliance and compassion and real-world insight of our young people. The leadership, courage, and lived experience really illuminates pathways of transformation far beyond confinement or any circumstances that our young people endure. And these incredible leaders that you're going to hear from today demonstrate exceptional commitment to advocacy, healing-centered engagement, and systems change through their service to the OYCR Youth Advisory Board. And through their authenticity, their integrity, and their bold truth-telling, RYAB really helps shift narratives and elevate youth voices and hold others accountable to the communities that they serve. And their brilliance cannot be contained by walls, by labels, or past circumstances. It really lives through their vision, their courage, and their unwavering belief that our young people are not the problem to be solved, but they are the leaders to be followed. And these young people that you are going to meet today are leaders that I definitely follow. And without further ado, I introduce our first of our 5 Youth Advisory Board members I'll be presenting today, Vincent, who's going to kick us off. I pass it to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Lunar New Year. In honor of Black History Month, I would like to start us off with a quote by Malcolm X, and it reads, "Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today." And I chose this quote because education has truly been a foundation to my transformation. And a little bit about myself: I'm from Richmond. Uh, I represent Contra Costa County. I was formerly incarcerated from the ages of 15 to 23. Um, it was a real turning point in my life, and I have been released. I have been out for a year now, and within this year, I obtained my associate's degree. I've got off probation, and I successfully transferred to the University of California, Davis. And I'm currently an undergraduate and majoring in community and regional development with a minor in technology management. Um, and I hope in the future to, do go into law or something, just something with higher education. And yeah, what else? What else? But yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. Um, Education has been, like I said, a real, a real, real focus, and yeah, change changed a lot for me. And that's it. I'd like to pass it on to my next YB member.
Hi, yo. My name is Victoria. I've met a lot of folks that I see in this space, but I also don't know all of you guys. So it's really nice to meet you. I am from San Jose, which is in Santa Clara County, and I am a founding member of the Youth Advisory Board, which means that I've been on the Youth Advisory Board since the very beginning in the working groups. Um, I've been doing this work since I was incarcerated, and I've gotten out and continued to do the work, and it's made such a huge impact on my life. And I want you guys to see like all the progress from the Youth Advisory Board. Back in 2024, we hadn't even launched, and we were in the process of working groups and connecting people from within facilities and outside of facilities, working to create a youth advisory board that's really based off of youth voice. And it took a lot of work from our awe-inspiring and amazing Youth Voice champion and ally Susie. She took a lot of time to go up and down the state, meet with young folks, and really hear our voice and get the foundation of the Youth Advisory Board and help us build that. We built our policies, our practices. We have our missions, our visions, our values. And so I just want to say like it took a lot of work, and we've done a lot of stuff, but I don't want to get too much into that because throughout this you'll be hearing about the things that we did within the last year, as well as all the stuff that's coming up within the next year. And so with that, I will be hopping into our mission, vision, and value. And I know that our mission and our vision seem really large and really like big dreams, but at the end of the day, we see these dreams coming into reality, and we really believe in ourselves and the team of the Youth Advisory Board and all of the people who support us and our systems allies, our community allies, and all of our amazing supports. And so, our mission is that the Youth Advisory Board works to empower young people and facilitate their growth by creating spaces of respect and trust to allow all individuals to engage and collaborate on important policies and projects. We aim to bridge the gap amongst counties and amongst youth and young adults so they can connect with, uplift, and advocate for one another. We build partnerships with communities and systems to transform systems of harm and failures into networks of care and success. And for me, I've seen our mission come into fruition every day. I've seen this all the time since the beginning. Like I said, I joined this while I was in facility, and to see all the pathways that this youth advisory board has created for me and my team, not only have I learned so many advocacy skills, but I've also really been able to create a career out of this and to really learn what it means to advocate not only for myself but for the folks that I surround myself by and for the next generation. And so I just wanted to say that amazing part about our mission, and I will be passing it to Mika for her introduction and the vision.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mika. I'm part of the Youth Advisory Board based in Oakland, California, in Alameda County. And the vision for the Youth Advisory Board is to work towards abolition of the carceral system by providing alternatives to incarceration that set young people up for success and creating real solutions and opportunities for youth where incarceration is not a reality. So we want to use the same money that goes into incarcerating youth and put that into community to provide resources and programming, economic opportunity, and building mentorship, um, rather than incarcerating and using punitive punishment and incarceration as a form of punishment and focus on rehabilitation. And so we aim to decrease incarceration rates by 50% over the next 5 years by centering and amplifying youth voices to facilitate conversation that turn their experience into expertise and their expertise into sustainable solutions for all. And that's part of the reason why we have the Youth Advisory Board. We uplift youth voice and in being included in decision-making processes because we don't want anything happening about us without us.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be going over the values of the Youth Advisory Board, but before I do so, I'd like to share a little bit about myself. So, my name is Christian Coppage. I'm 24 years old, and I'm a full-time college student at Fresno State studying sociology. After graduation, I want to work in a juvenile detention facility working with at-risk youth. I've been a member of the Youth Advisory Board for about 2 months now. And a big part of why I do this work is because I know what it feels like when people make decisions about your life but don't actually listen to you. So I've been through the carceral system as well, just like the majority of our members have. I was incarcerated for about 6 years from the age of 17 to 24 years old. And during that time, it really changed how I see things, and it made me want to speak up, not just for myself, but for other young people too. So, like Vincent, education was also monumental in my rehabilitation. I was the first youth in my juvenile facility to get my associate degree and transfer to a four-year university. Um, Also, when I was first incarcerated, I was 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, and I was still considered a sophomore. So that's how far behind I was in my academics. And so one thing I love about being on the youth advisory board is it lets me use my real life experience to help make things better. And so with that, I'm going to get into the values. And before I start, I did want to say that we have a long list of values that we came up with, over 50, but these were the five that resonated with us the most. So to start, integrity to us means keeping it real. So that's talking about what youth really go through, even when it's uncomfortable. So staying consistent in every room, and we protect people's stories. And we don't just practice integrity in the open, we do it behind closed doors as well. Next is innovation. And innovation to us means we don't keep repeating the same broken solution. So we take real lived experiences and turn it into ideas that actually help youth. And if something isn't working, we try new approaches. We don't let that stop us. We speak up in meetings and we also help shape decisions. Next is respect. So respect is how we treat people every day. So that's by listening, not talking over each other, and we don't shut anyone down. We respect different experiences and opinions, and we make sure everyone's voice matters, no matter their background. Next is uplift, and uplift means we support each other and we don't leave people behind. So that could be celebrating small wins, and then sharing resources instead of keeping them to ourselves, or gatekeeping is another word. So, making space for youth voice, especially the ones that get ignored. And a lot of the time, the voices that are being ignored are youth that are inside a facility. And so we know better than anybody how that is. And so we're their voice. Last is empathy. And so empathy means we try to understand before we judge. We remember everyone has a story, and some people are carrying a lot. And we don't define youth by their mistakes. And we use that mindset that I just mentioned to push for solutions that actually fit real life. And with those values, I think they're extremely important and they matter because they help us create a space with respect and trust. And it's where youth voice actually leads the conversation, which is something that I feel has been neglected in the past, or often just never has happened. And so we're not just talking, we're building real alternatives to incarceration and pushing for systems that support youth instead of punishing them. And I just want to thank you all for being here today and for um, letting us speak in this space. With that, I'm going to pass it on to Vincent to go over the makeup of the Youth Advisory Board.
Yes, so currently we have 25 official members across California, and we have additional unofficial members, some who are on the waiting list, who we collaborate with. As we know, collaboration is key, and real change happens when we work together. But so we represent the counties that are listed. So we are currently recruiting and having conversations and looking to recruit in these counties: Ventura, San Joaquin, Madera, Riverside, and San Luis Obispo. And if you guys have any youth who would be a good fit in, our youth advisory board, please send them our way. And yeah, we are committed to uplifting youth voices and creating spaces for leadership, advocacy, and opportunity. And with that, oh, also I forgot to mention that a third of our members are currently incarcerated. I don't know if I mentioned that, but they're a big part of our team. And yeah, with that, I'll pass it on.
We have had a lot of folks that were incarcerated and got out and are continuing to do the work. But we also have a lot of young people who are currently incarcerated, and that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. It's an amazing opportunity, but the logistic part of it is actually like a lot more complicated. We have to get approvals in order for young people to be on our meetings at a certain time, and we have folks in facility that join our youth advisory board subcommittees, and that is additional approval and additional time. And I just want to say that I think it's such amazing coordination that we get with Susie and Ava in order to have these young people inside facilities supported to do the work. So another big shout out to Susie and Ava for that. Right now, I'm going to hop into our subcommittees, and our first one is actually our Gender Expansive Outreach and Coalition, which is also called Gecko. This these are but before I get into that, sorry, I didn't really give much background. These five subcommittees are subcommittees that have launched or that are upcoming launching really soon. The Gender Expansive Coalition and Outreach is made up of all of our female youth advisory board members, and we have two that are in facility that helped to found this. And so we just wanted to say, oh my gosh, I blinked. I'm gonna do this one with Kaylee. So Kaylee, can you hop on and join me? My brain just went blank and I don't want to ramble.
Hey y'all, I'm Kaylee. It's a lot of familiar faces I see on here, so hi to all my folks and also the new people who are with us today too. Just to jump in and talk a little bit about Gecko, I've been actually doing a lot of gender expansive work outside of YAB as well as being supporting with the subcommittee. I think when we talk about gender expansive young people, we just kind of map them just as the terminology and not like specifically about who they are and like, them having their own community and additional support. They already deal with a lot of things outside that we can't imagine that they go through mentally, physically, and emotionally, especially being incarcerated in these spaces that don't necessarily support them individually. So just being able to have that background with actually, working with young girls and gender expansive youth that are incarcerated, I've learned that it's not simply just like basically basing them off of like their sexuality, just more so just like kind of getting to know who they really are and what it is that they have in store for their future and what it is that they want to do, because this work is very important. And yeah, I think that's a little good kind of brief. If anybody want to add anything to what I said.
Also with this gender expansive coalition and outreach, I wanted to point out another fact. Our subcommittees are also a way for us to reach out to young people who may not have the capacity to join YAB every week and do all of the work. But if you know anybody who would be interested in joining a subcommittee to for the gender expansive or anything along these lines, we welcome them to reach out and email us. We dropped our emails in the chat. We will also have that at the end. So that way young people have opportunities, even if they don't have the capacity to be on the youth advisory board. We really want to get youth voice in as many different outlets as we can.
All right, so next I'm going to go over the collaborations that we are doing with, or that has to do with education. So the first is WestEd, and WestEd's connected to the California Behavioral Health Student Services Act evaluation. So basically, it's focused on improving mental health supports for students in California schools, and our role in this partnership is to make sure the evaluation and the recommendations are youth informed. And we've been bringing youth perspective on what students actually need and what schools are currently missing. So um, we attended a planned meeting with West Ed where we talked about what data points matter most, what information should be included, and how that data can be turned into recommendations that actually help students. And so we've also been reviewing data sets and giving feedback on them. And so it's not just like numbers on a page, it's connected to real lived experiences. And as I said, the overall goal is to improve school mental health services across California in a way that feels realistic and accessible. And for us, it's a good example of how the Youth Advisory Board can work with research and policy groups to make sure decisions match what youth are really going through. And next is a collaboration with Shawnee Shea. And so it's incarceration to college. And we're, or it's actually with Rising Scholars as well. And we're going to be attending the 56th annual uh, I hope I get it right, is JCCASAC, I think, conference. It's in San Francisco. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but the conference is about bringing people together from like juvenile court schools, community programs, and alternative education to learn what's actually working for students. And for the Youth Advisory Board, that's important because education should be a pathway forward for youth and not another barrier. And like, for example, how me and Vincent shared how education was so monumental in our rehabilitation and how that transformed our lives. And so I think us working around in education is very important for us and the work that we do. And so we want to bring back what we learn and help turn it into better support and better opportunities for young people. And then Vincent is going to talk a little bit with you guys about the Underground Scholars Program.
Yeah. Um, I just wanted to add that we know that there's a lot of programs out there. Some of these programs, are ineffective, but in regards to incarceration at college, I'm an alumni. They shout out to Shani Shea. She helped me get into UC Davis. She worked with me while I was incarcerated, and she also helped me while I was, out, in the community. So that's a big role. And so incarceration in college is a part of Underground Scholars, and Underground Scholars incarceration in college actually started at UC Berkeley. But since I've been at UC Davis, I was able to start the conversations and bring the incarceration in the college to UC Davis. And recently, me and my other YAB members and other formerly incarcerated youth who are part of the Underground Scholars were able to get a meeting with stakeholders in Sacramento County, and we're looking to create a LRP. That's basically a gateway from incarceration to the UC system, and yeah, that's what I've been working on while I've been up here. And I'm pass it on to one of my other YAB members.
Yeah, I'm also going to go over the drugs and substance use collaboration that we're doing with UCSF Behavioral Health, and it's something that we've just kind of had an initial meeting with with them about. So it's not fully up and running, but it's going to be. And it's focused on, obviously, like it says, drugs and substance use. So we're looking at what resources are already out there for youth, which could be programs or services, and different support options. But we're not just making a list, we're also doing more research and getting feedback to see if these resources that are already in place are actually working, and if the youth can really access them, because we know that there could be programs in place, but they're not accessible to everybody inside facility and even outside of facility. So that's one thing we're doing. And then based on what we learn, our goal is to improve the support available for the youth dealing with substance use disorders, and then figuring out what kinds of treatment and help are going to be the most useful. And I'm going to pass it on to Victoria to go over the Youth Justice Summit.
So for our Youth Justice Summit, we are actually doing a Youth Justice Summit in October of 2026 with more information to be coming out soon. We will send out a very large email, but this Youth Justice Summit, we have been working weekly and meeting weekly in order to create not only the work tracks, but also to create awards to set up the whole thing. So it's been an amazing opportunity for us as a youth advisory board to really step into a new role and to step into new opportunities in order to create a youth justice summit. Because me personally, I've never created a summit, I've never created a conference. I've attended, I've spoken at them, but this is an amazing opportunity that we have in order to really be showcasing youth voice, and not only in the sense of like, you know, showing up and being a support, but really creating something and having a statewide opportunity to show that off in an even bigger aspect. So I think that that is amazing. I know that I've been working with a lot of the folks for I don't know how many months, but quite a long time, in order to get this set up, and it's really really exciting work. I know that Mika is also on the subcommittee for this. If you have anything to add to this, you can. If not, I can move on.
Oh,
Um,
I was
did
gonna
you?
add real quick. Sorry. We're also gonna be going over Victoria, the Youth Justice Summit more in detail as one of our goals. So if you wanted to save it for that.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And then I did notice a question where somebody asked if school board will be invited. We will be sending out a very large email. It'll be open. You just have to register. We want to make sure that we get as many voices and as many supports and allies there as possible. So when that information does come out, we will be sending emails. Please just connect with us via our email so that way we can reach out and have your contact information. Um, Next, I'll be talking about our membership committee. We recently, within the past couple months, have started a membership committee in order to go over and make sure that we are staying focused with our goals and making sure that folks have the capacity, like folks are doing everything that they can in their capacity. And so with the membership committee, we meet and we talk about how we can outreach and how we can expand membership, and even and like I said earlier at the beginning, like how we can involve young people in as many different outlets, even if it's not directly the youth advisory board and it's one of the subcommittees. How many outlets can we get youth voice into? So that's such an amazing opportunity for us to be able to do and to really have that leadership. With the membership committee, we talk about the roles and our expectations. We've created policies and procedures and practices. So I think that it's a really, really amazing. Like I love the Youth Advisory Board, and I say amazing a lot because I really do think it is amazing. Um, but it's been such a huge opportunity for us in order to just grow in our professionalism and our expertise and to really build on our voice. So our collaborations, these are some of the collaborations that we've done within the last year. Ones that we've done really big ones and done continuous work with is OYCR, the Social Changery Rally, Mass Design, and so many others that you see on here. And this is just some of them. This is just what fit on the screen, but you know, we're looking forward to expand our collaborations and to continue to expand our outreach. So we work with a lot of folks: OYCR, the Social Change Rally, Mass Design, CAYCJ, West Ed, as we said. So I think it's really amazing the amount of collaboration we have, but it's also amazing to to see all of these and see how many more opportunities that there are to come. And we're just super supportive for those who support us and support the work that we do and are really excited to have us be active and be fully present with you guys in sharing youth voice.
Okay, it's my turn. So, hi everybody. My name is Kaylee Matthews. I'm 21 and I am also a part of YAB. A little bit about me. Formerly incarcerated. I'm the oldest of seven, and I've been doing organizing work since I was 17 years old. Um, what else can I add? I'm currently right now in college part-time, pursuing my public relations degree, but also getting my pharmacy technician degree. I'm really big on like education right now. So I guess I can get right into it. So basically right here are our conferences and presentations that we have done over the past year. Um, Being with YAB, a lot of my skills have gained because we do a lot of like presenting. We are really working on like a bunch of collaborations right now, and networking. So a skill that I came into YAB with was definitely probably would say public speaking. I love storytelling and talking about my journey and how far I've come in life. You know, like I didn't get a lot of opportunities growing up. So now that I do have the opportunity to be on YAB to like share my experience and be able to support other youth who don't have the voice, it's really like a really dope opportunity for me. So pointing that out in YAB, we have the opportunity to voice our opinions, you know, teach other people how to make these spaces better. I feel like youth voice is very important because a lot of times we're told like who we can be and what spaces we're allowed to be in when in reality like we should be everywhere. Anything that has to do with decision making about young people, the young people should be in those spaces. Um, with that being said, when we present at these conferences, it's also like a stepping stone to building long-term relationships with folks, whether that's in our county or out of state. And I think that people forget that we are directly impacted by our education system, climate, workforce policies. And when we present in these spaces, we get to make the decisions of the do's and the don'ts. I think some of the best ideas and everything doesn't come directly just from titles or degrees. It comes definitely from our perspective and our lived experience. The world just haven't heard everything yet. And I think that Susie giving us this platform, it just shows that like we're very brilliant and intelligent and that anything is possible. Um, so a lot of these, like we just recently did the Rules Summit in December. That one was really dope. We got to, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. We got to really break out in groups and kind of exchange a little bit about our orgs and our aspirations and goals that we have professionally and personally. I thought that was really cool because just getting to know people and being able to talk to them and them seeing like how very like impactful this work is and they actually care, it's like very like heartwarming because it's like, okay, finally people see like who I am and how far I want to go. Um, Also, I wanted to uplift like this work doesn't stop and it's not for fun. It's not just a job. This is actually like our lived experience, and we're actually like personally expressing like the things that we've gone through, you know? I feel like I'm missing something. What else? Also, like Beyond the Bars is coming up. Another one that I wanted to uplift was Beyond the Bench conference that was in LA that I got to attend. That one was really a dope space to be into, but it was for me personally, I was a little nervous because we were talking to like judges and like people who are probation officers and you know people who are actually like in charge of big spaces and being in that space, it was dope to be able to like talk about my experience being incarcerated and how like growing up I didn't have like those opportunities and spaces to be able to share, you know, my lived experience. So getting them to see like we're people and that they should start treating us a little bit better, you know? So, um, yeah, I think I wanted to lastly just start off with don't invite youth into these spaces just to listen to them, but because when we are heard, a lot of change can be louder and more present. So I just wanted to add that. So yeah.
Yeah, and before we move on to looking forward, I just wanted to mention like all of these conferences and all of these panels and everything that we've been able to do. I've learned so many skills. I've had so many opportunities to network. I've met people across the nation who support the work that we do and who are interested in the work that California is doing and the Youth Advisory Board is doing and who have asked us for technical assistance. I've had amazing opportunities to not only connect with other folks, but really connect with and build upon my Youth Advisory Board family and our connections together. I think that that is such an amazing thing that I just wanted to shout out about all of the conferences. Every time we come together, we build not only upon our professional and developmental relationship in that sense, but we build upon the connections that we have as people and the village that we are together. So I just wanted to say that that is honestly, no matter what conference it's been at, that's always my favorite takeaway from it is the networking and the building relationships with people and creating an even stronger village for us as a whole, but also us individually and in our personal lives.
Yeah, and it's like very impactful for us because just being in these spaces, it's like I feel like royalty, like being able to like share like the work that we do and how impactful it is. A lot of people don't think that like we're capable of these things because of our lived experience and because of what we've been through, but it's like that's not who we are. Like I'm Kaylee Matthews and I'm a leader, So we're all leaders and us together as a team is like it's like top notch. Can't nobody like top us? So I just wanted to uplift that as well. And thank y'all for y'all time. Yeah.
I also just wanted to add one thing about the conferences. Looking back, so Beyond the Bench was actually my first conference that I attended. It was the first one that I flew out to. It was a good experience, sharing the space with my fellow YAB members and just being able to rub shoulders with judges, probation departments. That really was like that was a big deal for me. And but one thing that I really want to highlight was one thing I really wanted to highlight and like that really let me know that I was exactly where I was supposed to be was so I was in a room, right? And I went to go grab some water for Susie and from the front desk. And as I was going to the front desk, I actually ran into one of my public defenders. So, I was able to like, just talk with him a little bit, took a picture, and it was just like I knew I was supposed to be where I was supposed to be, and it was just that was like a real like, real big moment for me. But yeah. Thank you.
I just want to add some. I'm a youth advisory board member. I wasn't speaking today, but it was a beautiful thing to see my team speak. Normally, I'm up there speaking with them, so it's a different perspective, and it's truly amazing to see how well each of them has grown. And I love to learn with them and continue to grow with them. Uh, I'm really big on having the youth have a seat at the table because I firmly believe that you can't win at a game where the rules are always changing if you're not one of the ones changing the rules. Um, so as youth advisory board, we're here to claim a seat at the table, and these youth right here, or these young people right here, are demonstrating that today, and it's an amazing thing to see from this perspective. So, good job, guys, and thank you for having me here.
So we have a Girasol training coming up in Los Angeles. That one will be for all the young women as the Youth Advisory Board that happening in LA County. Or no, I don't think it's LA County, but in SoCal. That'll be happening in March. We have the Beyond the Bars conference, and that one is happening in New York. We also have the Equal Justice Initiative field trip in Alabama, where that one's more of a political kind of training rather than a conference. We have the JCCA SAC, and that one is going to be focused on education happening in San Francisco. That one will be the partnership happening with Shawnee Shea and Rising Scholars happening in May. And then partnership for Wellbeing Institute. I'm not sure 100% on that one. The Girasol training is going to be, I'm actually not 100% sure. I know it's focused on women. It's done by the National Compadres Network, which is also in partnership with OYCR. And then the OYCR Youth Justice Summit will be happening in October 2026. And that one is going to be, we're actually working on putting that together as we speak in partnership with the OYCR.
Another super dope experience that we have coming up is the EJI field trip in Alabama. I look forward to that because I feel like that is going to be an extremely healing, but also an extremely deep and educational opportunity for us to. We aren't going to present, we aren't going to speak, but we are going there to really build that connection and the deeper understanding for the work that we do and how deep rooted the changes that we need to make. So I think that that's going to be such an amazing opportunity for us in this upcoming April.
Yeah, so next I'm gonna go over some of our goals that we have for this year. And so I know you guys all have heard a lot about the Youth Justice Summit because it's extremely important and it's a huge role that we're taking on because as one of the members stated, I can't remember, I think Victoria, it's not like we're just attending a conference to speak at. Like we're actually in charge of this conference. We're building it. And so it's a huge thing for us. And so the goal is to elevate youth leadership and lived experience and make sure youth voice actually influence policy and not just get heard and ignored as it often does. And so for the summit, we want it to be centered on youth voice, healing, and real policy change. One key part is creating a youth track that's led by youth advisory board members, and that track would include workshops, um, panels, and focused on things like decarceration and education, mental health, and accountability in systems. And we're also aiming to engage at least 50 youth from different regions across California, especially youth who are system impacted and from marginalized communities. And we want to partner with state agencies, CBOs, and advocates so that the youth recommendations are documented and shared directly with decision makers. And so after the summit's over, we'll produce the youth recommendations brief, and that'll capture the main insights and policy priorities youth want to see happen. And our second goal is to lead a YAB-driven decarceration project. And we're building a project team to pick focus areas like diversion or alternatives to detention. So that could be probation reform or sentencing practices. And then we'll do youth-led research through sessions and data reviews, and then turn what we learn into a youth-authored framework, I guess you could say, with recommendations. And so with that, we'll present to OYCR leadership and other county partners and support any opportunities while keeping youth leadership at the center of it all. And the next goal is to provide technical assistance to support youth councils and advisory boards across counties, especially for youth who are in facilities. And we're essentially creating a technical assistance like toolkit, I guess you could say, based on Youth Advisory Board lived experience. And so offering trainings and consultations to at least 5 counties, and while staying available to help any other county as well. And we also want to strengthen things like stipends and onboarding and real decision making power for our youth and build peer learning through a statewide youth voice collective. And with that, we'll document what we learn so youth engagement keeps improving statewide.
Um,
And
Sorry to interrupt and to hop on with you. I just also wanted to point that while we provide technical assistance, we know that our amazing youth voice champion, Susie, she does a lot of technical assistance inside of facilities. But our goal right now is to try to create it to where the youth advisory board is capable of going into facilities and to support that technical assistance and create youth councils and boards so that way not only are we having our youth advisory board, we can go inside facilities, support each individual counties with theirs, and then bring together collectively at the end, what do all of these counties need? How are they similar? How can we move as a state, a statewide across the state in order to support all these young people getting equitable and equal resources and the support that they need. So I think that that's such an amazing opportunity that and goal that we are working on right now.
yeah, thank you, Victoria. I'm going to pass on the remaining 2 goals to, um, I believe, I'm not, I'm not entirely sure who was supposed to go over the last 2 goals. Sorry.
I can hop in and support. So we want to facilitate a transforming educational justice initiative field trip, and that's the one that we're talking about in Alabama, upcoming in April. Um, I'm really terrible with names. There is a museum that we want. Susie, if you could drop the name of the museum.
Yes, it's the Equal Justice Initiative. I'll put the info in the chat for y'all. Go ahead,
Thank
continue.
you. She has the name of the museum, and it's like I was saying, it's really deeply rooted in history, and it's allowing I believe that this EJI field trip will really allow us to get to know a deeper level of the roots of the issue, so that way, you can pull a weed, but if the roots don't come up, then you're not making that deep growth and that deep progress that we want. And so, we're really trying to learn like how deep we have to go in order to break generational curses and create new generational opportunities for young people and for the generations that come up after us. So that's that amazing opportunity. And our last goal is to launch and sustain all Youth Advisory Board subcommittees along with the overall structure of YAB protocols, procedures, and processes. As we said earlier, those were 5 of our subcommittees, and most of them are launched. I'm so sorry, this cat is crawling in front of my screen, so if he's like blocking the view, I apologize. Um, but we want to launch and sustain all of the subcommittees, and we've launched a lot of them, and now we're just trying to sustain them and get the protocols and procedures for the new ones and continue to just do the work in order to create that and launch it. And so that's another goal. But oh my god.
And this is kind of tying into the last point that we just had, but we're really excited about this Youth Voice Coalition. Um, so we're looking to launch it in June, and basically our focus is we're gonna be hosting monthly meetings and these once a month or monthly meetings, whatever, and we'll be having technical trainings for others to make youth councils in their facilities, which is tied to our mission and values. And like we know that people claim to push youth voice, but sadly, unfortunately, they only push their own agenda. And this also goes hand in hand into our mission and values. Oh, I said that already. But the technical assistance, is we're like we were talking about earlier. We want to have a role in playing. We want to have a role in creating these youth councils all over the state, and we wanted to kind of be structured the way our YAB is structured. Our YAB is structured, and you know, our youth voice champion Susie, she does a great job in doing that. So yeah, we're really excited about this though. Be on the lookout for this. If you guys are interested, like I said, we're gonna be launching this in June, so just be on the lookout.
And I want to uplift any young people that you guys have, like, you can also let us know too as well.
Yeah, I saw in the also in the chat that you guys said you guys could help us with that. So we did see that. We acknowledge that.
And we dropped our email in the chat, but also if you guys want to take a screenshot right now, this is the Youth Advisory Board email. I know Susie's email is in the chat, but this goes to the entire board, and so it's here for you guys, and we look forward to you guys reaching out.
It looks like we have time for some questions. Good job on timing, y'all. We got a few minutes.
Thank you.
There are no questions. Or acknowledgements. If there's no questions, if we answer them in the chat, acknowledgements. As y'all know, our Youth Advisory Board, they're amazing, as you could see, and they didn't even touch on
There's-
everything.
There's a raised hand for Kate English, Susie.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, thanks, y'all. This is awesome. Hearing about everything you're up to is amazing. So we have a youth council inside our juvenile facility. It's been about a year, and they created their own charter We went with what they said they wanted it to be, and they have leadership that comes to meet with them. They make recommendations to leadership, and some things have gotten changed. We've kind of bumped into some things going well, and some things, are always surprised, like, oh, we thought this was going to go like this and didn't go like that. But I would love to hear from your lessons learned and connect you all. So I put that in the chat, but I really will be emailing you. I don't know how we could do it, if we could do it over Zoom, because I don't know how quick we could actually physically get you into the facility. But if you're willing to do it, we could try to get the two. Our group is small; it's only about 3 to 5 at a time. But get them to meet with y'all, and I would love that so much.
We can make that happen. I know our YAB will step in, but absolutely. So let's connect again and definitely make it a possibility for our YAB members to meet with them. And we could do it virtual and in person. So we could start off virtually and then make it happen in person.
Okay, awesome.
And
I know
just-
they're kind of attached to how they have, like, I know you said you want to set up councils in the way that you already kind of have your shape, but are you willing to work with a council that already kind of has its own shape? It wasn't the adults that put it together, it was
Yeah,
the
as
young
long
people.
as young people are the ones that are
Okay,
forming it, that's
yeah,
that. You know what I mean? I
okay.
think, but there's what is really cool about councils that are already formed, especially if they are really centered around the voice of young people, is just sharing, right? And that the Youth Voice Coalition that our YAB really wants to put together, that'll be open for stakeholders, community members, and young people across the state. I think it's like learning of all the frameworks that work and are beneficial, but also new ways of doing things too that, we don't have to recreate the wheel, we could share, right? So that's why they want to put toolbox together. But I think you already accomplish the main one, which is having the young people design it and having it be supported by youth voice champions that really center their voices.
And we have a
Well,
couple
thank you,
hands and a
Vincent, Kaylee,
couple hands and a couple mentions in chat. Phil Bradley, I think, was next. If you're still there.
Yes, I am. So thanks a lot. This was great. You guys just did a really nice job. I love the confidence and the clarity of mission and your ambition. So I'm not really familiar with this, and if this is not a good forum, but tell me how you kind of decide how you're going to, where you're going to go. How do you fund it? What kind of support do you get from these other organizations? Are there ways that we can help? I'm on the Justice Committee in Contra Costa. I'm a commissioner on the Contra Costa Justice Committee. So
I'll
anyway,
jump
just
in.
general
Yeah, I'll
kind
jump
of,
in very
you got a
quickly
lot
for
going on, man, and you're traveling around
yes.
and everything.
Well, the
How does
Office
that
of
all come
Youth and
together?
Yes, well, the
I'm
Office of
sorry,
Youth and
what?
Community Restoration is really centering and putting the resources to support this youth advisory board. And so when the office
May I
launched, they
just
quickly
pause, Susie? So you're the primary funding and organization for this?
OYCR is making this possible and funding the youth advisory board as
Right.
when they launched and realized we're making all these changes for our young people across the state. Who better to lead that but our young people? And so I am their
100%.
consultant that's on board to make that happen. And so they make this all possible. And as far as county to county, OYCR also supports technical assistance for folks across the state to design their own. And then we also go in to see what are the sustainable resources available to support those councils, depending if they're in the community or in facilities and what that looks like. So so that's a short answer, and then there's longer ones on how to do it. But for our youth advisory board here, they're making this possible and continuing to support their efforts across the state and leading the way across the state for all of our counties.
Fantastic. Very impressive. Nice job.
All
Also,
right. And
I think something in the comments about LinkedIn. Yes, some of us have LinkedIn accounts, so please add us. And I know
May I
Don,
make a comment
I
on this?
will
I went and
definitely
looked
add
you all
you.
up as you were speaking. If you
Yeah,
don't have a LinkedIn account, go get one. And don't be shy. Put stuff out there because people find you that way. And
yeah.
if you've got a direction, jobs and those kind of things, try to use the keywords in there. And I'd be happy to help anybody, talk anybody through it, but get visible.
Yeah,
all
so
right,
Don, I'll definitely add you back. Feel free to text me too. I'll text back. So thank you.
and we have a few more hands
Kaylee,
up. I'm not
been
sure
dope.
if Ebony still had a question.
Well, thank you. I think Susie kind of answered some of it. You guys have
Okay.
done an amazing job. This has been great. I did you said you work with others across the county, across the state, because we're in San Diego and we're Boys to Men Mentoring Network. We also work with National NCRC. So we have boys that come out that we want to provide our mentoring services to. We've just begun our youth advisory board for our journeyman. And so we'd love to partner and kind of have a branch working out here. So I don't know if someone could direct us to where in the San Diego area we can get started, or you guys can come to us. But just,
Yes,
kudos,
that,
snaps.
absolutely. So I think let's talk more offline too, Ebony, but absolutely. We've been talking to some folks out there. So everyone that we want to put together and we're currently out in that area a lot because we go to Imperial County, which is 2 hours from San Diego. So we're working with young people in the valley there in Imperial County, in facility and in community. So actually I'll be out there this Friday. So maybe I can stop by.
Yes, because we're in
and see
40
y'all.
schools across this San Diego. We're in so many school districts, and then we have our community groups. And so this is just super synergistic. And I am just so proud of you guys because I know what it takes to really work a group and come up and speak and have your voices be heard. So awesome, awesome job, and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Awesome. And I'll get your contact information and let's chat, and I can invite you to talk to our full board as well.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
We've got about 60 seconds, and I think 3 people that really want to sneak in there. Jennifer has had her hand up, so we can go to Jennifer first.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am so, oh my gosh, I can't, you guys are just all on fire. Power to the youth, because we all know that you guys are the future. Good day I took some notes. I'm in my car, but I had a little notepad. My name is Jennifer Blanco. I am a Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commissioner for San Mateo County up here in the Bay Area. And I love the plan that you all are talking about of having a YAB in every county. I think it's so needed. Just that's a great idea or plan. And then I had a couple of questions regarding to see if you guys are thinking about or interested in and presenting at each of our JJDPCs, or if not, we also do have a statewide collaborative where once a month all of the JJDPCs in our state meet monthly. So I'd love to see if we can have you guys maybe present at the upcoming
So
state.
yes,
Thank you.
and yes. And we also do
Awesome.
TA with all of that too for young people. So we could talk more offline, but yes. And we have our youth advisory board member in San Mateo County too. So yes. Are we taking the last question or am I jumping in? It looks like
if we can,
Emerald.
if folks can hang on, I think Tara really wanted to jump in there, and then Emerald, and I think we got to close that after that.
Okay.
Yes, I just wanted to say, excuse me, I'm in Florida. My cousin is about to get married, so I had to tune in, and I just wanted to thank Kylie for spreading that voice and all the youth on here that did an amazing job of presenting. I know you guys might have been nervous, but don't matter. Just keep going. And you guys did wonderful because this is impactful. We need to hear the voices of the youth because we don't know what you guys looking at and what you see and you visualize, but we stand behind you 1,000,000%, and we're here to bag you up. And I'm Lessons Learned. I'm based in South Central Los Angeles, and I have the Youth Academy for Reentry. I'm a reentry specialist, and I do work all across the land, across the USA. But I want to thank Kylie. Go, girl. You made me real proud today. So, and all you guys made me proud. But that's my mentee right there. So I'm very proud of her. She made me real proud. All you guys made me proud. And we're going to continue to support you guys. So I left my website in the chat for anybody. Contact me. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for giving these youth a platform. We got to continue to give these youth platforms so they can do what they do and show us the amazing leaders that they're going to be in the future and that they are right now. We got to stand behind our youth, give them what they need so they don't have to crash out like I did. So thank you guys. And thank everybody on this call who is really concerned and really here for the youth because this is what it's about. They are the future.
Thank you so much. And I know we're beyond time, but thank you all for being thank you, Tara. Thanks for being patient. And Emerald, I know you've been waiting for a while, so want you to jump in there if you'd like to.
No, I appreciate the time and I'll honor the time and I'll keep it really, really brief, which is one, I just want to say thank you to the entire youth advisory board that just really knocked it out the park and really, doing systems change with, showing up with lived expertise. I just wanted to come on and happy to have a side conversation with you, Susie, and the rest of the Youth Advisory Board, because we just, me and Malaysia, who's a part of the call with CDSS, just joined the department, focusing on lived expert engagement, one of the first ever positions to be created with the department. And I think it would be really inspiring and helpful to know sort of how you guys have been able to really build such a successful space for lived expertise to really sit within the house of the Office of Youth and Community Restoration. So Susie, I'll be reaching out to you. Maybe we can just do a meet and greet just to share a little bit about the work and really get some inspiration and a blueprint. You guys are setting a blueprint and trailblazing what it means for the state to really hold accountable youth experience, youth engagement. So major shout out to y'all. Y'all are paving the way for many others. I started as a youth advisory board member for Seneca Family of Agencies when I was 15. So you guys are reminding me to grounding me back in my purpose too. So Susie, we'll be reaching out and look forward to hearing from you also.
Sounds amazing. And our Youth Advisory Board members love to meet with folks. And so I'm so excited. Thank you all. As you could see, they only shared a little piece of the amazing things that they do. And so it's definitely incredible. And thank you for supporting them and everything that they do and more to come. And thank you all for joining today's session. Join me in thanking all of our Youth Advisory Board members for their presentation today for today's webinar. If you didn't get a chance to share your comments, please do put it in the chat. They will read them all. We welcome you to take the survey that was also put in the chat to provide any of your feedback on the experiences in today's webinar, and the link is there. The webinar will also be recorded and be available if you happen to come in a little bit later and didn't catch the beginning portion or would like to share it with other folks. It'll be available on the OYCR website by the end of the week. And our next webinar in the Youth Justice Action Series will be on March 17th at noon. So use the link in the chat to also register for that. And this, y'all, is going to conclude today's webinar. Thank you again so much for joining. We'll be happy to see you next month. And I hope y'all have a wonderful afternoon and stay safe in all this rain that's happening, well, at least where I'm at. So have a good one, y'all.
Have a good one, y'all. Stay safe.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.